Hey folks, Jonathan here. Wanted to show you what we was doing, where we're at, what I'm working on today and been working on and off. Here is parts for our steam engine. And as you can see, we've got them cleaned up. I'm going ahead and paint them. Now we'll probably end up painting the entire steam engine once we get it together, you know, possibly. But we're going ahead and getting paint on it, on everything, getting everything cleaned up and ready. We could put them in storage. I got a building just for parts for the steam engine, and you can see we're getting most of it cleaned up. And these are pieces with Babbitt. I think the Babbitt's going to be fine. We're going to do some measuring. Is what we're going to do. Put it together, and we're going to do, you know, just mic it and see what we can come up with. And everything's looking good. We got most of these parts cleaned up. And here's the wedge. This is for the rod. And they hammered, as you can see, on the threads when they took it apart, so we're going to fix that. We got one of these blocks. These are for the Babbitts on the side of the crank. The only bad part is I didn't take this apart, so I'm putting together something that somebody else has taken apart. But this is one of the studs that broke. This one actually is broke off in there, so we'll have to make a new stud, which is not a problem. It can be easily be done, and it's all coarse thread. We can get this out. That ain't will be an issue either. We're gonna keep rolling on this engine here just as we go and try to get it done. And I'll show you what else we're up to. Okay, I finally had to do something about my forklift. It started leaking down and actually got pretty bad. It started when I picked up something heavy and it wouldn't pick it up, and what I was trying to pick up would have normally, the back of the forklift would have come in the air, but it wouldn't even get to that point. So I knew there was a problem, and it took, you know, just a couple more lifts after that for it to start leaking down just as quick as you raised it up. So these are rear end clamps, or could be front end clamps off of a 1936 Plymouth, and I just bolted them on because I needed something to grab on this rod to lift it out, because there's nothing up there. There's no holes. It's solid. So what we done, here's our packing. I'm going to take the packing and match it up tomorrow. And here's what we done. Just took it out, and having a crane, I actually picked this section up with the forks on it and blocked it. I hooked the chains from the top and then just took the cap off and lifted it right out with the crane. That saved me from having to get this cylinder off at all. And the bore's good in it. There's no problems there. So we'll just get the new packings, put it in there. We won't lose any of the fluid that's in the cylinder itself, and we'll have this thing back together in no time. So just, you know, one of the things, you're always having to work on stuff, and I have absolutely neglected this forklift. I bought this forklift. Normally when I buy something, I go through it and fix everything, get it right, you know, make it where you can walk out, flip the switch, start it. And I have not done any of that to this forklift. Unfortunately, I have, you know, I should be ashamed of myself. Well, I am ashamed of myself. I haven't fixed the seat. I hadn't fixed the wiring. You got to cross two wires to start it. It don't have a choke cable on it at all. Cold natured, and it's still got the wonderful Harley-Davidson gas tank. I bought two strap mounts to put here for a propane tank, and I've got two steel propane tanks. I'm going to actually make one into a regular gas tank, and the reason this is here is because the gas tank that's made into the machine is bad. It's really bad. So the plans are to, you know, just to make a gas tank that's a propane cylinder, but for a forklift, but it will be filled with gas and used as a regular gas cylinder. Go down to the steam engine and start. We're going to start lagging some stuff together here. Okay, folks, so we're getting ready to move this engine, and the problem is this is 14,000 pounds. This is what I got our crane for. Our crane will do 14.5, so we're going to try it. Hopefully it's going to work. If it don't, everybody will know it. But here's my problem. If you look, there's a pole right there. And if you look up, hopefully the sun's not too bright. That's the main power lines. And then we got power lines running this way that actually go up to my place. And so we've got a power line right away, basically at the front of my land. I'm not going to bring the crane down here. I don't need to have issues. And my son works for the local co-op power company as a lineman, and you know, if I don't know better than to do something stupid, then it wouldn't look good on him at all. So what the plan is actually, I wonder, I just was looking at that while I was talking. I wonder if one of them would be the same and I could just maybe use one as a pattern. Okay, anyway, so we know what it needs to look like for our bearing. So anyway, excuse me, like a squirrel. But so the plans is to lag this thing. I'm going to lag it the best I can, this whole frame together, frame of wood. And if we can get it together good enough, we can winch from that wood. Plan is to move this thing by dragging it on these skids until I can get it where I feel comfortable having the crane. If I was to pick it up here and the crane break, or let's say, you know, something did happen, you know, I don't need it going into a power line. I don't want to get anywhere close to these. They say 15 feet from these main transition lines, or these main lines, but you know, 15 feet to me is just too close. I'm about as close as I want to get to them right now. And I let my son handle all that stuff. He knows what he's doing, I don't. So anyway, let's get to lagging this thing together. So luckily I know where this hardware store is. And I happen to have some nice lag bolts and some washers. And I think these are, I'll tell you what size they are. These are 6-inch. So we got 6-inch lag bolts. We're gonna do them at an angle and try to get it all lagged together and see what it looks like. All right, folks, we're hooked up. I moved some stuff around. We moved it just a little bit here, but we'll go ahead and start winching on it. I'm hooked a little different than I'd planned to hook. I actually hooked around it itself instead of to the block, but I lagged everything in, and I lagged some chains down around it, and I mean tight. So hopefully it'll all stay together. So like I said, just one line, and outriggers are down. As long as it don't dig down in the ground, I think we're going to be okay. I mean, it's going to dig in some. We just don't want it to dig in far. So we might have to move. Yep, it's moving itself. I was going to say I'd move over a little bit. Chain. Looks like that side's going in farther than the other side. Yeah. Getting the ground there a little bit. Could be because of the way we had the chain hooked up. Let me slide it. I think I'll loosen it up and slide it over toward the center. We'll get a little lift on that side too. That way we can lift on both sides. Steer very good, but it's coming this way. We've about cleared it now. We're straight under the lines, and now we can go up what we call my driveway and not my wife's driveway. What people don't realize is I got the house facing backwards. The backyard is actually the front of the house, and you know the way that the house is set up. So what everybody thinks is the front yard is not the front yard; it's the backyard. So it's sort of backwards. All right, let's go up some more. Everything's going good. It's all staying together so far. Anyway, once we get it far enough away from them them lines right there that I feel safe, which is probably going to be about another 40 feet up the driveway here, 30 feet. Then we can bring the crane down to it, and we're going to test it and see what this thing weighs. See if it's the 14,000 pounds that they advertise it as being. That's what the shipping weight is advertised at 14,000. I don't know if that's with the governor, without the governor, or you know what that consists of. But we're going to pick it up and find out. All right, folks. Following day, we got the crane down here. We got the engine here. We got the scales hooked up. We're zeroed out where they're at. There's really just some chain weight we're going to be counting, and probably, I don't know what's going to come with it and what's not going to come with it. I mean, it may raise up with it or not. But either way, this thing was going into the ground here, and wasn't moving really good, but it was moving. It was being a bear the whole way. And I got a feeling that it is the 14,000 they say it is, but hopefully we're going to find out. Now, power lines right there. But if something was to happen to the boom and it fall, it's going to fall short of them, and that's what we want. So I am going to get some kind of a lead line on this thing so it don't get away from us, like my forklift tried to do. And then I'm going to come in a little bit closer because this is supposed to be at 10 foot. Now I'm leaning downhill, which is probably not a good thing. I'd rather be below it uphill, or where I was picking up, you know, from uphill, but you know, this driveway's at a grade. That's why this thing started sinking in so hard, I think. But either way, we're going to get a little closer to it. We're going to try to pick it up. If it's light on the crane, we'll get a little closer until we're able to get it off the ground, or the boom breaks. One of the two, right? And if I said I wasn't a little worried, I'd be lying about whether this thing's going to be able to pick us up or not. Now, this is the max weight we're ever going to mess with, or I plan to mess with. And I can lighten this up some. I mean, I can start taking crankshaft out and flywheels and stuff, but you know, my point is to be able to lift it and move it, and let's just see what happens. I picked up on the chains here. Let's see what kind of load we got on it. We got an 813 pound load on it now. Just tightening up on the chains. I wanted to check them all and make sure they all looked good. There's no issues. I think everything's fine. So I'm going to set you down over here, and we're going to try to pick it and see what happens. All right, we're gonna have to do a little changing on our rigging. It looks like we're a little bit heavy on the backside. What kind of weight we got on it? We're just around 9,000 pounds. And we're not off the ground yet. And the machine's feeling a little light, but I think it's okay. Not a pretty pick at all. We're too close now. I need to let out on the boom a little bit, but let's see what we've got. Not as much as they said. 11,467 pounds. All right. So we're still wrong on the way we got it. I'm going to do a little change in here and see if we can go ahead and get it spun around, because I know that's what it wants to do. So, all right, folks, raining like crap. So we're going to call it a video, and what we're going to do. Hey, I need some new wipers, don't I? Wouldn't hurt, would it? What happens here in North Carolina is all this pine tar, as you can see, gets on the windshield and then it don't come off. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to swing that around facing uphill or up the driveway, and I'm going to try to drive it since it's lighter than we thought it was, which is a good thing. I don't have a problem with that. Now, you know, I wasn't buying it by weight, so that's what we'll do. Swing it around and see if we can roll up the driveway with it. If we can't, we'll figure it out. But I don't see why we shouldn't have any problems, being that it's only, you know, a little over 11,000 pounds or somewhere over 11,000 pounds. So anyway, all right, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye. I would buy that boy a muffler.